and welcome to Solutions number 14, Polio Friendship, our sense of well-being and feeling safe. As I'm getting back on my feet after the sudden loss of my husband, and thank you all for your kind wishes, I remembered I wanted to do a positive talk. So I'd like to move forward. I need you more now than ever, and I believe other polios need this talk too. We polio people are a tough breed. We never wanted to help and we never thought we needed it, but we do. We spent our lives insisting we didn't need help, but the truth is, we do now, and that's okay. This weekend on the Australia Polio Chat, Nirma Sedra, Australia polio survivor, says, having had polio at such a young age, we are uniquely equipped for old age. So why don't we use these skills? A polio survivor said, I'm just stubborn, maybe, and stoic. I didn't mean to push help away, but I think I do it unconsciously. After seeing all the people who showed up for the funeral service, it made me realize how much people care and need and want to help. Actually, people do want to help so much, and it helps them to feel good to do good. So together we can show that accepting help isn't weakness, it's a gift. We can help survivors and their families understand that help is a good. Also, when people say to me, call me, I can help you with anything. Truthfully, I don't know what to say or even how to ask for something. I think about all the things I have always done for myself, and now what I must do for myself alone or even how to do them. Most of all, I have to stop and think seriously about what I am about to do. Whether it's standing up, moving my crutches, getting into my manual wheelchair, or especially the electric one. All these activities take 100% concentration. And right now, or maybe always, I did not think so carefully. Now, I don't want to misstep. A fall now would be really difficult to manage. Ina Pinkney told a story about feeling safe. She said, the most wonderful moment of a polio child's day is when they get into bed. Because, number one, all the bullying of the day has stopped. And number two, in bed, you don't have a fear of falling. Now I'd like to invite Jill to talk for a moment. Jill?
Hey, good morning, Mona. It's good to see you.
Hi.
Hi.
I never really asked you to be part of this meeting, and it's not really part of this discussion. But if you have a few ideas to start this discussion off, we would like to talk about how to feel safe in your own skin, especially since we, all of us, are changing beings. And never before did I ever feel so torn up about losing someone that feeling safe is no longer in my life. How do we and others cope?
Yeah. Yeah. Mona, as you were talking, I was thinking about how, for a lot of us, our coping mechanism has been to be as independent as possible, right? Like we just really, really try to be individuals and do things on our own. And when something happens in our lives where we have to depend on somebody else or we lose that significant partner, and we often have this feeling of, oh, if I'm not completely independent, I must be dependent, and I don't want to be that. And so we tend to push some of the help away or not quite have a handle on what maybe would be helpful. And I was just going to say, as a therapist, that there also is interdependence. And that's where I depend on you and you depend on me. And I think part of having a disability and getting older is recognizing that it's okay for me to depend on other people. It's okay for me to depend on my body as much as I can. And there will be times where I need to talk about how scary it is. So I thought I would start with just an exercise that I recently learned on how to just help our bodies ground and feel a little bit more calm when we do have that panic of, well, who's there for me? Or what if I don't know what I need help with? How am I going to figure this out? So the exercise is called fogging the mirror. And what I would invite you to do is to pretend like you have a mirror in front of you. And we are going to exhale first in a way that would fog up the mirror. There was a mirror in front of us. Okay. Will you do it with me? Okay, let's try it. So we're just going to go, right? So you can tell there's a little bit of a constriction in our throat. And when we try and fog up the mirror, we also know that the exhale slows down our heart and it helps us to, I have a little kitty who wants to join us. It helps us to just really, really be in our body. Sorry, you guys, I should have kicked him out. This is Dwayne. So when we fog the mirror, the second thing that I'd like you to be able to try and do is imagine there's a mirror and then there's a candle between you and this mirror. And so when we exhale, the goal is to not blow out the candles. So that makes our exhale even slower, right? So there's a mirror, and then we're going to do 5 breaths, imagining there's a candle in the middle. Sorry about that. And we're going to imagine there's a candle in the middle, and we're going to exhale without blowing out the candle. You ready? Thanks for playing the distractions. So we're going to take an inhale, and then we're going to exhale very slowly. Good. Let's try it again. I'm going to do it 4 more times. All right, 3 more times. Don't let that candle go out. And 2 more. And 1 more time. Well done. And you might notice when you do that the sensation in your body changes. Or if we've been through something really hard recently, there might even be a little bit of a buzzy feeling. And that's really normal. That is, we're changing our nervous system state to be able to rest and digest. You might find now that you yawn or you sigh or you start to hear your stomach gurgling or you realize you're hungry. And those would all be signs of rest and digest. And when we can hear and observe those things in our body, we know that we have found a sense of safety on the inside. Yeah. Thanks for doing that with me.
Thanks. It does feel good.
Yeah. It's different, huh?
Yeah. Well, thanks very much, Jill. We'll use that breathing technique just to get ourselves more balanced, more aware.
Yeah. Good. It's always good to see you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And now for the talk, I have invited 2 other people to come and talk about their life. And each of us will share our life and experience and sense of feeling. Hello, Diana. How are
Hello.
you? How are you today?
I am delighted to be with you and this group of people today, Mona. It really is an honor.
Well, it's very, very nice of you. And this talk will be on how we cope with the various new needs we have and with our ever changing polio. And if you have post polio symptoms. So, this solutions talk, we could focus on how we're coping with our everyday changing needs. Nothing formal, just heartfelt conversation. And I hope you've tried Jill's exercise while you were offline. And now we will have people all over the world to hear this and hear our honest stories about how we can help, especially those who think that they don't really need support. That's our polio side. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you. And thank you, Jill. I kind of want to go rest and digest. That was lovely. So I'm Diana Whitney. I had polio when I was just about 4 years old. You know, as a little kid, I want to say I was 3 3/4, but 4 years old. I'm now in my 77th year, so it was quite a ways ago. And I really appreciate Mona's invitation because it really gave me an opportunity to reflect. So I am going to give you a large overview with some little tidbits in between. I hope that something that I say is meaningful. For the first 30 years of my life, I lived in the polio infused victim orientation. It had happened to me. I kept having things happen to me. I had never been given the opportunity to adult, to know myself. Everything was continually done to me. And it took a long time for me to literally step out on my own. And that was a time of divorce. And at that time, I began to wonder who I was and to wonder what I really needed to tie into Mona's whole question of how do we get support and help and the kindness, having been bullied as a child. It was a hard time. So I stepped out on my own, and that's where I began to discover so many resources. I chiropractic, massage. The first time that I ever got a massage, when this wonderful, caring massage therapist touched one of my scars, I flinched. I couldn't accept it. And she said, "That's okay. We're just going," she took her fingers, "we're going to feed the tissue." And she very gently nurtured the scar around the scar tissues. Now I can have those scars massaged and touched. And so the people who I discovered and who discovered me were kind, were understanding that our body holds wisdom, and that as we move our body, as we massage our body, knowing emerges. And for me, some of that early knowing was the release of the trauma and the hardship that I had experienced being bullied as a child because I limped and I wore orthopedic shoes. And so I want to share one of the most powerful methodologies for me is called Feldenkrais. Feldenkrais. And it's called awareness through movement and functional integration. And that was the process, continues to be the process, that helps me gain the awareness of who I am through my body. Because it's interesting. I have a PhD. I've written and published books. like so many polio people, I'm very accomplished. I'm known around the world. And I have to know myself through my body, that inner knowing that Jill referred to. For me, it's a body awareness and a spiritual awareness. And the Feldenkrais process has helped me integrate my own body awareness with my body activities. There was something else that came along that I want to share with you. And it's a book called In Praise of Slowness. And it talked about slow food, the movement that was in Europe, slow education, slow lovemaking, slow exercise. And what that book did for me is it gave me permission to live a slow life. And so in one of our other conversations, I've talked about how I, on my good days, use everyday experiences as a meditation, right? It's load the dishwasher, empty the dishwasher, sort the laundry, fold the laundry, and really being as present in my body as I possibly can when I'm doing those kinds of things. And so I've had a 30-year, close to 40 years of what I called growth and learning to listen to myself and living with myself. Kind of the capstone of all that was my hip replacement. And that was precipitated by another book called New Life, No Instructions. Gail Caldwell has had polio, and she wrote about her hip replacement and how it gave her a totally different range of possibilities. And that's what happened for me. My son and daughter have been two of my biggest supporters. My son taught me pickleball, and I got to play pickleball, right? This little child who couldn't hardly walk straight was now able to get on a pickleball court. And I really followed the rules. Don't try to walk backwards, because I don't want to get hurt. And then I decided to move to Denver to be closer to my children. And I adore being closer to my children. I adore having met the Post-Polio Network. And the combination of aging in a city, having disrupted every one of my own habits and patterns. I mean, everyone. Yes, I still have my electric toothbrush, but I plug it in a different place and I'm in a different space. I disrupted everything that was comfortable and safe. And so I'm in this process of rebuilding and getting constantly stimulated and triggered by early woundedness. I have never in my life been part of HOA. HOAs do not treat you like adults. They try to do things to you. I have interviewed 3 doctors until I found one that is a fabulous listener, and I could talk about my story. So I'm at a place where the intersection of aging, new living space, and polio is really in front of me. And so I'm using what I've learned to spend time alone, be quiet. I'm also an introvert, and to carefully sense who people are and how they treat themselves and how they treat me. So I'm in a new phase of my journey, looking for people who are good listeners, who are curious about someone who's different than them, who offers help, who says, how can I help? And one thing that I learned actually from my daughter, when a friend's partner passed, she said, Mom, don't offer to help. Offer something specific. Like, I'm going to pick up Thai food this afternoon for my dinner. Would you like me to get some for you? And then my friend could say, yes, I love Thai food. Please do it. So specific offerings of help are much nicer for people than I want to help you, the broad generalization. Because when we're in times of need, we often can't even articulate what would be nice for us. So that was a gift from my daughter that I try to practice a lot. Let's see what else I want to say. Yes, so listening to myself and finding people who are listeners. That's kind of the resource that I have going on right now, Mona. And I want to say thank you for this opportunity to reflect on my own polio experience and to locate myself now at the intersection of polio and aging. It's a tricky one.
Wow. Thank you so much, Diana. That was very inspirational and a wonderful suggestion on how someone can help.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Marcy, I have been such a good friend with you, and we call ourselves sisters. We have birthdays that are very close to each other. Our polio is so similar. And you've been through some very drastic changes recently as well. Not quite as drastic, but very life-changing. And on that reason, I thought it would be very helpful for you to talk about how you've had to change and what the lifestyle is for you.
Mona, you're one of the dearest people I know, and we are twins, just from different countries. I am not a professional. I am not well known anywhere outside of my own family, and that's okay. I don't need to be known that way. To give you a little background, I wrote this out so I wouldn't be hemming and hawing. But I contracted polio in 1951 at 3.5 months old in Clovis, New Mexico. My father died a month later, leaving my mother at 34 with 4 children under 9.5. I come from a tough old bitty stock. My mother never remarried. She raised us all, and we all went to college on our own dime. My polio affected me below the waist on both legs. My right leg is more severely affected. I had 13 surgeries from just before my 7th birthday to just after my 18th birthday. And my doctor loved to put me in spica body casts, plaster body casts in the summer in New Mexico without even a swamp cooler. It was hotter than Hades. I sweated a lot. But because of that, my right leg is smaller than my left, and it's 2.5 inches shorter. I shattered my right hip twice before I was out of high school. Once just literally days after my 15th birthday, and again 20 months later, just at the end of my junior year in high school. I missed my high school graduation because I was in the hospital preparing for the first of 3 lovely surgeries that summer to rebuild a hip socket, which did not work. I am not a candidate for any joint replacement because of muscle weakness and bone deterioration. I counted it up once many, many moons ago, and I think I spent all but 5 years of my life either in braces, on crutches, or in a wheelchair. And I now use an electric scooter full time. I lost my ability to walk at age 55 and my ability to stand at 60. And I was diagnosed with post-polio in 1985 at the age of 34. I just had my 74th birthday this past Sunday. So, my brothers, God love them, they treated me normally. I was little sister and eligible to be picked on and pounded on. However, if I had an injury or if I had surgery, they were right there to take care of me. And I'm sure it was mortifying to them. Not only did they have to take baby sister to the movie theater to see Elvis Presley and Jailhouse Rock, they also had to change my bedpan during surgeries. I don't think I ever really was aware of the things Diana was talking about. I don't remember. It was a line in a book somewhere that said she always just lived. Living was busy. And that's kind of where I am. I married at 36 to a widower with 2 children, adopted his children and raised them. We lost our son in 1994 at age of 19 in a drunk driving accident. And this year, on Mother's Day, 2.5 months ago, my 82-year-old husband fell in the backyard and broke his neck. He is well. He is not paralyzed, and he sometimes gets on my last nerve here at home doing things I don't think he's ready yet for, but he knows he's ready for. So we are growing and learning through this stage of our lives. It's fun to go to doctor's offices or anywhere because I wheel out of my accessible van and then my husband gets up on his walker and comes out of the van too. And people just, oh my God. And I just look at him and I say, it's the crip leading the crip. So life is tough and we go on, and every day is a blessing. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you for a very courageous talk. And you have been courageous your whole life, talking about your operations. We have all had them, and we wonder how they helped us, how they hindered us through the years, but we survived through them, and we will survive all these other mishaps and adventures. And I think that's what I do. I call them all adventures.
Absolutely.
Yes. And talking to other people in the polio chats, whether it's at Jill's chat, which is very informative and very helpful every single time, as well as all the other chats that I go to. Australia is just amazing. You know, I listen to the Australia talk and I can't believe they're living exactly the same lives that we have. And we never thought about them. I mean, Australia, who would think of people in Australia having polio just like us? But they had the same epidemics in the 50s and, of course, before the 50s and even after the 50s.
They had Sister Kenny. She was the one who came up with the treatment for us from Australia.
And that was very helpful compared to all the other treatments that I've heard about. We are now going through our own difficult transitions with the post-polio. Some of us have had post-polio for 30 to 40 years, and we still don't know what it is, and we still don't know how to cope with it, but we are coping. And that's the whole point of this. So most of all, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you here today with me, and all of you who are listening in your own homes and wondering how we're going to get along. This has been a wonderful sharing of our lives, your lives. Polio helps us. somehow it helps us. We are the ones who know what we are doing and what we are going through, and our stories help others. That's what I have found, especially the monthly or weekly calls that we have with other people. We have all become family. And
Yes.
when we speak to someone like Jill, who can give us an insight into some of the things that are difficult for us to go through, your breathing exercise is really wonderful. Jill, I think I'd like to end with your exercise before we go. This has been really exceptional. And yes, I like that hug. This is what I call
Butterfly
the yoga hug or the polio hug, because you can do it as far or as near as you can. This is as far as I can move my arms, and Marcy can move it a little bit higher, and Diana works on that as well. Okay, Jill, just take it away so we can end with a wonderful way of digestion.
All right. Yeah. So, and hopefully without a kitty. Sorry about that. So let's, yeah, Dwayne the kitty. Let's just settle into our chairs and really see if we can feel where our bottom touches the chair. And when the world isn't feeling safe, right? We want to see if maybe there's a little spot in our body where we can just feel safe, right? Even if it's just an earlobe, even if it's just I'm able to feel the bottom of my feet touching my socks, touching my shoes on the floor. And we're going to imagine a mirror in front of us, just like we did before. And we're going to start by just making sure we know how to go. So let's pretend that we're fogging up a mirror and go, good. And now we're going to slow it down even more. We're going to imagine that between our mouth and the mirror, there's a candle. And when we say ha and exhale, we don't want that candle to blow out. So we're going to do 5 breaths. We're going to inhale. We're going to exhale with that ha, and we're going to try our hardest to not blow out that candle. So that means we're going to have to go pretty slow, right? So on my count, inhale and slowly exhale. See what you feel in your body. And then we're going to inhale again. Well done. One more time. Number 3, exhale. You might start to notice some tingling. We're going to do it again. Number 4. Don't blow out that candle. Great. And our last one, big inhale. And then just go back to normal breathing. And maybe notice if you feel some tingling. And I will tell you, what we're doing is we're stimulating our vagus nerve. And we might even see if you can feel your cheeks. And I don't know if you've had somebody that you love in your life who would put their hands on your cheeks, but we know that our cheeks are where we can feel a lot of love and a lot of connection. There's a lot of muscles here where we can see, right? So we connect with each other, even though I can't touch you. I'd love to be able to put my arms around you, but I can feel my cheeks right now, and I can feel safe in my cheeks, and I can feel connected to you guys. And that just means a lot. I mean, I may lead polio support groups, but I get a lot out of these too because I need connection to all of you. So give it a try when you're having a day that maybe feels a little staticky or tensiony or disconnected. And when we can connect with ourselves, we also can connect with other people, and we can really enhance that feeling of safety in our bodies.
Yes, that is wonderful. Sharing your life with other people, other polios, help us. We are the ones who know what you are going through and how the stories really do help us. Thank you all. This has been wonderful. I really appreciate you coming and telling your story just the way you are. That is really something. Join us again next month. We will talk again about polio and post polio. Thank you. Ken, would you put my address up for anyone who would like to write to me, either about the books that Diana talked about or even the exercise that Jill has told us about? Mona Arenault at gmail.com. Write to me anytime. I love to answer letters, and I never have enough. Thank you.
You, my girl.
Thank you all. Wonderful. See you again soon.